in advance your forgiveness for anything that goes wrong, and hopefully we'll be able to correct it. To improve the quality of sound, our technician, Sarah Suriani, thank you, Sarah, has muted everyone and will pretty much keep our microphones mute unless you're told otherwise. And so you will have, some of you, an opportunity to share during joys and sorrows. And then after the service, if you choose to stay for our virtual coffee hour, you'll have a chance to chat and share what's going on in your life. Just a couple of quick announcements. One is that we are continuing to have weekly virtual lunches. It's every Thursday at noon. And to find out how to join that group, which is purely social, just go to the website. So Thursday at noon, from noon to 1. After next week's service, we are going to have a virtual talk back about music. This last year, we did kind of an experiment about music, so we want to look back and see how that went, as well as brainstorm for our future plans for our next church year, which begins on July 1st. Our social justice ministry has been meeting and has selected Neighbor to Neighbor to support. And Neighbor to Neighbor provides rental assistance, help with housing, etc. And so you will be getting more information about that in the future. And then finally, important announcement is that coming up after the May 3rd service is our spring congregational meeting. And for the first time, we are going to hold this on Zoom. The spring meeting is when we vote in new leadership. We also will take a look at the budget for the next church year. And we do need to have a quorum. So I hope that all of you will help shape the future of this beloved community by attending the meeting after the service on May 3rd. So now let's kick back and enjoy a blast from the past. Our prelude is by Joni Mitchell, Big Yellow Taxi.
Paradise, put up a parking lot with a pink hotel, a boutique, and a swinging hot spot. Don't it always seem to go that you don't know what you've got till it's gone? They paved paradise, put up a parking lot. They took all the trees, put them in a tree museum. They charge the people $1.50 just to see them. Don't it always seem to go that you don't know what you've got till it's gone? They paved paradise, put up a parking lot. Hey, farmer, farmer, put away the DDT now. Give me spots on my apples, or leave me the birds and the bees. Don't it always seem to go that you don't know what you've got till it's gone? They paved paradise, put up a parking lot. Late last night, I heard the screen door slam, and a big yellow taxi took away my old man. Don't it always seem to go that you don't know what you've got till it's gone? They paved paradise, put up a parking lot. I said, don't it always seem to go that you don't know what you've got till it's gone? They paved paradise, put up a parking lot. They paved paradise, put up a parking lot. They paved paradise, put up a parking lot.
For any of you who are joining us belatedly, we apologize for the technical difficulties we've had this morning. And also, we have experimented with live music and it just doesn't work. So all of our service music will be recorded. And now Peter Schenk, our worship associate for today, will present us with a call to worship and chalice lighting words.
With the kindling of this flame, may we recognize and abandon the familiar attitudes and practices that do not serve the whole. May we choose to create a new inheritance for the future. Being human means we are of this earth. We are these waters. We are this fire and atmosphere. We are the sun and the moon and the stars. We are all that we see, and the wisdom is revealed by looking deeply and seeing the truth that we are part of the interconnecting web of all. Come, let us worship together. Join me in the congregational affirmation. Love is the spirit of this church, and service its call. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another.
And now for our opening song, that well-known beloved standard UU anthem, Roots and Wings, Spirit of Life. The words and music will appear, and so please sing along with your mics muted, including me. I invite you now to settle back into your chairs or your sofa. Let go of any worry that you may be carrying in this strange and challenging time as we take a moment to still our busy minds and enter into a time of silence. I'll both begin and end our time of silence with the ringing of this bell, followed by a prayer to Mother Earth by Lucy Bunch. So let's take a deep breath and sigh. Ah. Ah. We pray to you, Mother Earth, with gratitude for your holding and sustaining love, for the air, water, and soil that feed us, for the mountains and rivers and oceans that calm our spirits, for loving and supporting all beings and all creation. We pray to you, Mother Earth, with humility. Help us to remember our place in the great web of life. Help us to remember that we are but a part of this great web and that we must do our part for all life. We pray to you, Mother Earth, for forgiveness, for our ignorance and willful disregard of the damage we have done to you, to the air and the waters, the soil and the life of this beautiful planet. We pray to you, Mother Earth, for fortitude, to uphold our part in reversing the damage we have caused, for fortitude to make and sustain a commitment to do our part to heal the planet. Mother Earth, in gratitude and humility, we ask that you hold us and sustain us as we strive to live in connection with you and all life. Amen. The topic of today's service and also the strange time that we're in, I think, brings up a lot of feelings for us. Yesterday, we had a worship associate meeting, and I did a moment of silence, and it was Kathy Hartman, one of our homemade heretics, who said, "I'm not in the mood for silence. I'm in the mood for howling or jibber jabber." And so we said, okay, I don't know. In fact, I know actually that last week I asked how many of you go out on your porch or your deck or step outside your door and howl at 8 o'clock every night, as Francie and I do. And so this is one of those occasions when I'm going to ask you to unmute your microphone and join me on the count of 3, if you choose, to have some jibber jabber and howling, to let out some of our frustration, some of our joy, and our wildness. 1, 2, 3.
I love it.
Okay, let's go ahead and mute again. Thank you, everyone, for showing your wild side. And now we're going to enjoy a beautiful story called Wangari's Trees of Peace.
Wangari's Trees of Peace, a true story from Africa. Wangari lives under an umbrella of green trees in the shadow of Mount Kenya in Africa. She watches the birds in the forest where she and her mother go to gather firewood for cooking. And she helps harvest the sweet potatoes, sugar cane, and maize from the rich soil. Wangari shines in school, and when she grows tall, like the trees in the forest, she wins a scholarship to study in America. 6 years later, her studies over, Wangari returns to her Kenya home and sees a change. What has happened, she wonders. Where are the trees? Wangari sees women bent from hauling firewood miles and miles from home. She sees barren land where no crops grow. And where are the birds? Thousands of trees have been cut down to make room for buildings, but no one planted new trees to take their place. Will all of Kenya become a desert? She wonders as her tears fall. Wangari thinks about the barren land. I can begin to replace some of the lost trees here in my own backyard, one tree at a time. She starts by planting 9 seedlings. Watching the seedlings take root gives Wangari the idea to plant more, to start a farm for baby trees, a nursery. In an open space, she plants row after row of the tiny trees. Next, Wangari convinces the village women that planting trees is a good thing. She gives each one a seedling. Our lives will be better when we have trees again. You'll see. We are planting the seeds of hope. The women spread out over their village, planting tiny trees in long rows, like a green belt stretching over the land. The government men laugh. Women can't do this, they say. It takes trained foresters to plant trees. The women ignore the laughter and keep planting. Wangari pays them a small amount for each seedling still living after 3 months, their first earnings ever. Word travels like wind rustling through leaves about the green returning to Wangari's village. Soon, other women in other villages and towns and cities in Kenya are planting long rows of seedlings too. But the cutting continues. Wangari stands tall as an oak to protect the old trees still remaining. We need a park more than we need an office tower. The government men disagree. Wangari blocks their way, so they hit her with clubs. They call her a troublemaker and put her in jail. And still, she stands tall. Right is right, even if you're alone. But Wangari is not alone. Talk of the trees spreads all over Africa like ripples in Lake Victoria. More women hear the talk and plant even more seedlings in longer and longer rows. The seedlings take root and grow tall until there are over 30 million trees where there were none. The umbrella of green in Kenya returns. Women walk tall, their backs straight. For now, they can gather firewood closer to home. The land is no longer barren. Sweet potatoes, sugarcane, and maize grow again in the rich red earth. The whole world hears of Wangari's trees and of her army of women who planted them. And if you were to climb to the very top of Mount Kenya today, you would see the millions of trees growing below you. And the green Wangari brought back to Africa.
I love that story. And Sarah Suriani, I guess, got to meet Wangari many years ago. Now we'll take time to share our joys and sorrows. Together we are weaving a tapestry of love we call community. And by sharing the ups and downs of our lives, comforting one another when we're in pain, celebrating with one another when we have a joy, this is how we connect with one another and sustain our community. Our tradition here is to transfer pebbles into what I think of as our sky blue bowl of compassion and comfort. And so we'll do what we did last week, which is take up to 8 people who want to share. And either you can put your name in a chat button, or you can raise your hand and I can call on you. And at that point you can unmute, and then please be brief in the interest of time, and feel free afterwards when we're in virtual coffee hour to share your joys and sorrows there. And also please know that I'm holding virtual office hours on Tuesday mornings, or no, Tuesday afternoons and Thursday mornings, if any of you would like to talk to me. So Francie Leifert says to ask if there are any birthdays coming up. I would say that is a joy. So if any of you have a birthday coming up and want to share that joy, is that you, Lizzie?
Vicky.
Oh, Vicky. Okay, Vicky, if you want to unmute and share your joy.
Friday, I get the privilege of beginning my 8th decade on the blue planet.
Dang. Hoo, you make it look good, Vicky. All right. We celebrate with you. And Willow has a joy.
So today is would have been my mom's 70th birthday. So this is kind of a birthday joy sorrow because she's no longer with us. She passed away 14 years ago. But she would be really proud that I am here with you guys today. So just I'm keeping her in my thoughts today and happy to share her with you.
Well, we're glad you're here, Willow. We celebrate your mom's birthday with you. Who else? Francie?
My birthday is on Wednesday, remember?
Oh, yeah.
70 years old, 70.
Yes, this is a big one. Well, I guess we'll have to celebrate. So early birthday, and may your birthday season begin. Who else? Jim Black?
Well, my birthday, along with Francie, is also Wednesday. We'll both be 70, Earth Day. So, woohoo! Good job.
Woohoo! That's very exciting. Wow. And Brenda, it looks like you have a hand up. Or are you just clapping?
Well, I was doing both.
Okay.
So my doctor thinks I have COVID, and I've been feeling bad for 3 weeks, and I just don't feel good. And so if you guys could just keep me in your thoughts, that would be great. I thought I was getting better, and I'm not. So I'm on an inhaler, and I'm still at home. I don't want to go to the hospital, but I'm just not feeling great.
Oh, Brenda,
That's all.
your name is already on my altar, and I really hope that you can recover quickly. Is there anyone else? Sally? And Delynn. So first Sally and then Delynn.
Okay, back to birthdays. My son Kurt, the father of Sophia and Sawyer's birthday is also Wednesday, Earth Day, and he's working in the environmental field for Northern Colorado Water.
All right. We'll celebrate with them. A lot of Earth Day babies. And Delynn.
My 40th anniversary in Colorado was April 2nd.
Well, we're glad you're here.
I am too. It's way better than New England.
Okay, we'll take a few more if anyone has any. So Jonna, and then Nancy.
Hi, I have a sorrow to share, and it's a big one. 25 years ago today, I was at work in the Oklahoma State Capitol building when the bomb went off and blew a big hole in my life. So just think about all us Oklahoma City folks today.
Yeah, that's big. I haven't been putting the stones in the bowls, so I'll put in a lot for the joys and sorrows that have been shared. And so I know, Donna Brown, did you want to tell us your good news and brag that you're such a youngin'? Well, Donna just texted me that her birthday was Thursday, but she's only 68, haha, she says.
I think Nancy had something, Laurel.
And Nancy Amsler.
Yeah, I just wanted to say how thrilling yesterday was to see the hear and see the planes. That was just such a, it kind of reminded me of when everybody was involved together with the eclipse. It was like all of Northern Colorado was, we were not thinking about the virus. We were not thinking about anything except just how thrilling that was. So that's my joy.
Okay. Yeah, I was driving to church and I thought, why are all those people gathered around Lake Loveland and lining the streets? And then I heard, boom, it was so loud. But that was nice to have a moment to just forget about all the virus. I'll take one more if somebody has something. Let's see. Tell me if you see somebody's hand wave, and I may not see it.
Laurel, I have one. This is Sarah.
Hi, Sarah. Okay.
Hi. So on this coming Saturday is Lizzie's 26th birthday. Yay. And it's Dawn and mine's 28th wedding anniversary.
On the same day?
On the same day. She was born on our second anniversary.
Well, congratulations. That's a lot of joy. Oh, and we're going to hear from Lizzie pretty soon. And so let me just put in a few more pebbles to represent the joys and sorrows of some of you who might have something too tender to speak out loud, or maybe you feel shy. And then also you'll see behind me that I have 2 candles lit to represent the joys and sorrows beyond our walls. And now we'll have Comfort Me recorded, and please feel free to join along.
Comfort me, comfort me, comfort me, oh my soul. Comfort me, comfort me, comfort me, oh my soul. Sing with me. Sing with me, sing with me, sing with me, oh my soul. Sing with me, sing with me, sing with me, oh my soul. Dance with me. Dance with me, dance with me, dance with me, oh my soul. Dance with me, dance with me, dance with me, oh my soul. Comfort me, comfort me, comfort me, oh my soul. Comfort me, comfort me, comfort me, oh my soul.
And now I'd like to introduce Elizabeth Suriani. Elizabeth grew up in this congregation. I remember celebrating when you graduated from high school, went off to college. She is the daughter of Sarah and Dawn Suriani, sister of Emily. And Elizabeth is our artist for the earth, who just returned from Thailand and is sharing some of her art with us. So welcome, Lizzie. Thanks for being with us.
All right, hello. I'm pleased to be here with all of you today on this Call to Earth Day. Laurel's already introduced me, but again, my name is Elizabeth, and I'm gonna quickly share my art installation that I completed and showed in Bangkok, Thailand this last February. I've been living and teaching English in Bangkok for about 18 months until recently I needed to come home due to the pandemic. While there, I self-funded my solo art exhibition for an annual galleries night in Bangkok. In addition to that, I created the show in a medium that I've never used before, which is plastic. This leads me into the title of this presentation today. It's called Complacent. Complacent was the title of my show that was based on the ecosystem and the effects that we have on it. Instead of acting happy and naive, I wanted individuals to need to create, I guess I wanted to create a community in Bangkok and eventually in other countries as a call to action for Earth. Just to give you an example of the impact of our plastic use, 8.3 billion metric tons of virgin non-recycled plastic has been produced as of 2015. Generating 6.3 billion metric tons of plastic. Imagine 80 million blue whales or 1 billion elephants. Each of those are the equivalent of just 1 billion metric tons. 12 billion metric tons will enter the environment by 2050 if current production and waste management trends continue. Now let us begin for the origin of this story. Friends and I were recuperating on a Thai beach from the night before. I got bored and decided to help staff to clean up the beach. After filling a trash bag full of debris, as well as seeing waste like this, plastic bottles with barnacles who had created a home out of it, I turned around only to see the beach was a disaster again. I became so brokenhearted that I decided to create an artwork that was eco-based and something that could start a conversation. Mind you, I had not created a work of art in almost 2 years, and that's to include 3D work. I've never done it before. So during the next 10 months, I collected over 1,000 plastic bags and began knitting them together using found chopsticks from last night's dinner and hoping that I could pull this thing off. I showed my installation in Buffalo Bridge Gallery in Bangkok. There were 8 total photographs like this one and this secondary one that I had taken and suspended in the middle of the room surrounding this quote-unquote blanket. This created a motion to the gallery to guide patrons around the space and not to remain stagnant. They were then able to be a part of the space, the artwork, and the problem. The installation was attached to the ceiling with elastic strings and plastic water bottles, like this here. There are 2 fans on the room on either end of the blanket, so when the draft caught the underhanging bottles, the whole piece would move as if it were floating on the Chao Phraya River in Bangkok. Another body of work that was included in the show were a series of 6 embroidered pieces with watercolor and embroidered plastic titled Deterioration, which signified our bodies of water filling gradually with more and more waste. These are the first, middle, and last embroidered hoops. To enhance my show and the overall impact, I also included oceanic sounds and video bits that are not shown in this today. I'll be continuing to add on to this project over the next few years and will continue to show it in galleries until it finds a permanent home or it begins to fall apart and I find a way to responsibly retire it. Photographs don't do this piece justice at all, though hopefully you'll be able to see it soon. Thank you again, Laura, for having me speak with this project, and I really appreciate it. If you want to see more of my artwork, you can follow my Facebook page, Suryani Artistry, or visit my website, suryaniartistry.com. So thank you. Bye.
Well, bravo, and thank you. Thank you for your activism, and I'm proud that you came from this congregation. Keep up the good work. And now for our offering. We are capable of virtually receiving it. And one of the ways that we walk our talk is that we share half of our offering with a local nonprofit. We were going to share it with Mobile Laundry, which is now taking a step back. And so something in the same spirit of it is that we're contributing to laundry vouchers for the homeless so that everyone can be safe and clean. And so you can contribute on the donate button if you look in your chat box, or you can go to the website and donate. And this is by either bank transfers or now credit cards. And then of course you can always send in by mail your donation to the church. So please be generous. And I will just play a little bit of flute music while you contribute. Lizzie, I hope you're getting all the compliments and appreciation from people who are saying thanks through the chat room. And you know, when we're together, we bless the offering. So imagine that the ushers come forward, and in the days when we used to be able to touch each other, I'd put my arms around them and we would say together the blessing. So we dedicate ourselves, and these are our offerings, to the vision of this congregation, which is to radiate love, peace, and justice as we work together to build a beloved community. So thank you for your generosity. And we have our mission is to radiate love, peace, and justice. And you may have noticed that part of our mission statement is to act mindfully for the good of the planet. And so what we call the planet in UU credence, or anyway, it's the Blue Boat home. And so this is very appropriate for Earth Day, that we lift up our commitment to act mindfully for the good of the planet. And as we approach the 50th anniversary of Earth Day, I want you to all consider what it is that we are called to do. The 21st century that we're in is quite frightening. In 2019, it was the young Swedish environmental activist, Greta Thunberg, who criticized adults who say that we owe it to the young people to give them hope. She responded, "I don't want your hope. I don't want you to be hopeful. I want you to panic. I want you to feel the fear I feel every day. And then I want you to act. I want you to act as if your house is on fire, because it is." So our Blue Boat home is on fire. And the reason is because of the industrial growth society we live in. The logic of capitalism, which requires an ever-increasing extraction and consumption of resources. In a book by Joanna Macy and Molly Brown that is called Coming Back to Life, and I know this is probably backwards, but it's a wonderful book, they write that to the industrial growth society, the earth is a supply house and sewer, dug up and turned into goods to sell, and a sink for the often toxic products of our industries. Buddhist social thinkers see what they call poisons at the root of this earth's suffering. The institutionalized greed of consumerism, the institutionalized aggression of the military-industrial complex, and the institutionalized delusion of the state and corporate-owned media. The three poisons of greed, aggression, and delusion. In a book that I just finished and highly recommend, it was Donna Brown who told me about it, is called The Overstory. So have any of you heard or read of this book? It's by Richard Powers. It's an incredible book. And one of the characters in it was reflecting on, quote, what the bleep went wrong with mankind, end quote. And in a moment of clarity, he writes, we're cashing in 1 billion years of savings bonds and blowing it on assorted bling. And he realized this while he was alone in a cabin on a hillside. And then he wondered why this truth shines so clearly to him there, but why it's almost impossible to believe once you step out of the house and join several billion folks doubling down on the status quo. But you know what? The good news, the hope that I think we need to keep on moving forward, emerges from the fact that we still have the power of choice. However dire the circumstances that we find ourselves in, we can always choose our response. This power of choice is a noble gift that we as humans possess. What we are called to do in this time is to choose life. David C. Corton, who is the author of a book called When Corporations Rule the World, is also an author of a book that I've mentioned before called The Great Turning from Empire to Earth Community. And when Joanna Macy reviewed the book, she said, here is the book we've been waiting for. We are not doomed to domination and suicidal competition. We can choose another story. This is the Great Turning. Corton asserts that we humans stand at a defining moment, and our collective response will determine how our time is remembered for as long as the human species survives. He writes that the Great Turning is not a prophecy, it is a possibility. Both Corton and Macy recognize that story is the lens through which we see and understand our own lives, how we interpret and make meaning of our world, and story is what guides our choices. The book Coming Back to Life describes the 3 most commonly held stories in the industrial world of today. The first is the story of the industrial growth, and they call it business as usual. We don't need to change the way we live. Economic recessions and extreme weather conditions are just temporary difficulties from which we will surely recover and maybe even profit. So this business as usual is about getting ahead, using power over where there are winners and losers. And I have to say, this sounds very familiar to me right now. Business as usual. We'll recover from the recession. This extreme weather conditions is just temporary. The second story is one that we tend to hear from environmental scientists and independent journalists and activists, including Greta Thunberg. And this story is called The Great Unraveling. It draws attention to the disasters caused by business as usual. And there's plenty of evidence to back this story. The collapse of biological, ecological, economic, and social systems. But there's a third way. There's a third story. And it's the one we hear from those who see the great unraveling and don't want it to have the last word. This story is called The Great Turning. Those who choose this story see the possibility of transitioning from the industrial growth society to a life-sustaining society. Those who choose this story, and I count myself among them and hope that many of you will join me, commit to work together to act for the sake of life on Earth. We challenge the assumption, the poison delusion that humans are the ultimate measure of value and that humans are entitled to have dominion over the animals and the earth. We know that we are part of something bigger than our individual selves. We know, as our seventh principle says, that there's an interdependent web of all existence and we are a part of it. I wonder how many of you have heard of the concept that's called deep ecology or biocentrism. It's a law of nature that exists independently, whether humans recognize it or not. And it's the failure to acknowledge this law that has led us to the brink of collapse of the Earth's life support systems. Judy Berry, who's the American environmentalist, feminist, anarchist, architect of the Earth First campaigns against logging in the ancient redwood forest of Northern California, understands that in the context of today's industrial society, to embrace the ancient native wisdom of biocentrism is, quote, profoundly revolutionary, challenging the system to its core. I see this revolutionary spirit as being in keeping with the history, the DNA of this heretical liberal faith of Unitarian Universalism. Over the centuries, this faith has evolved to challenge such things as the notion of original sin and substitutionary atonement. The idea that Jesus died to save us sinners from spending an eternity in hell. Instead, the revolutionary heresy is that Unitarian Universalists believe that it's a blessing each of us was born, and that it matters what we do in our lives. That what each of us knows about God is a piece of the truth, and that we don't have to do it alone. We are both enough and not enough. Each of us has inherent worth and dignity, and we need one another. As in the African philosophy of Ubuntu, our sense of self is shaped by our relationships. I am because we are. We cannot and do not have to do it alone. And we have a choice of what we do in our lives. As UU theologian Rebecca Parker writes, your gifts, whatever you discover them to be, can be used to bless or curse the world. You must answer this question: what will you do with your gifts? Choose to bless the world. None of us alone can save the world. Together, that is another possibility waiting. One of the cornerstones of Unitarian Universalism is evolution. That things are not static, that everything, including us, is always in flux, constantly changing and evolving. And as food for thought, I offer you what I find to be a timely quote from the American spiritual teacher Andrew Cohen. We have survived one way or another for some 20,000 years. In spite of the infinite number of overwhelming and life-threatening crises we've faced, our durability has been proven. But something new is beginning to emerge at the leading edge of the development of human consciousness. And that is the instinct to evolve, to consciously evolve. It is based not merely on the instinct to survive, but an instinct that compels us toward higher, as yet unmanifest human possibilities. So what do you think about this idea of conscious evolution that humans are capable of? Embracing the idea that we humans have the capacity to consciously evolve toward the possibilities of the great turning is something I find to be a profound source of hope. We can act on this hope and act like Wangari, planting seeds of hope. 30 million trees she and the other women planted. Or young artists of the earth like Lizzie, who take plastic bags and turn it into art to help us wake up to what we're doing so that we can change. In discussing the ancient spiritual teachings in Coming Back to Life, Joanna Macy and Molly Brown write, we humans are not brains on the end of a stick. We are flesh and blood beings, and ideas become real to us through our senses and imagination, through stories, images, and rituals that enlist our capacity for devotion, our tears and laughter. For many of us, music is what enlists our capacity for devotion, our tears and laughter. And some of you may be familiar with the singers Sarah Nutting and Carisha Longacre, known as Mamoose. Did you know that they have been inspired by Joanna Macy's work and the story of the Great Turning? So I'd like to close by sharing the lyrics to one of their songs called We Shall Be Known. We shall be known by the company we keep, by the ones who circle round to tend these fires. We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change, alive from deep within the earth. It is time now. It is time now that we thrive. It is time we lead ourselves into the well. It is time now, and what a time to be alive. In this great turning, we shall learn to lead and love. In this great turning, we shall learn to lead in love. I recommend that you listen to that song. May it be so. And so now our closing song is one of our favorites. Often I know when I listen to it, it moves me to tears, and it begins with the image of the blue marble, which our Director of Religious Education has shared with our children as they do their RE at home. So please enjoy this by Peter Mayer.
Standing on these mountains and plains, far away from the rolling ocean, still my dry land heart can say, I've been sailing all my life now, never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home. Sun, my sail, and moon, my rudder, the starry sea, leaning over the edge in wonder, casting questions into the deep. Drifting here with my ship's companions, all we kindred pilgrim souls, making our way by the lights of the heavens in our beautiful blue boat home. I give thanks to the waves upholding me, hail the great winds urging me on. Greet the infinite sea before me, sing the sky my sailor's song. I was born upon the fathoms, never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home.
Peter, are you here? To extinguish the chalice, I offer these words. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. And for the benediction, my ship's companions, I look at you with such gratitude and love. This is the day we have been given. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. Before we sing our closing circle, the UU Blessing song, I'd like to invite you to stick around if you'd like to for a sociable virtual coffee hour. It's a chance to not only talk to each other, but maybe consider what the earth is calling you to do. So shortly after the service ends, Sarah Suriani will send you an invitation on your screen. And all you need to do is accept the invitation and you'll be sent to a breakout room with a smaller group of people. And then everyone can unmute their microphone and catch up. And so that'll be about 15 or 20 minutes. Sarah will wander around, so if anyone's in a room with either by themselves or just with one other person, she'll invite you to join some other room. And so now for our closing circle, take the hand or the paw of the creature near you, or maybe hold your own hand, real or imagined paws, and feel free to sing along to our traditional closing song. It's a blessing you were born. It's a blessing I was born. And in
truth.
Is a piece of the truth.
Let the beauty we love.
Let the beauty we love
be what we do.
be what we do.
And we don't have